What's up, everybody? I'm Brendan. I'm a full stack developer based in Brooklyn, New York. And today I'll be walking you through the solution for the secret message project as part of the Learn JavaScript course here on Code Academy. We're going to be talking all about arrays and how to manipulate them. You might be thinking, what are arrays? Just think of them as lists of information. They can be lists of strings, lists of booleans, lists of integers. It really doesn't matter, or it can be a combination of all of those things. It's just an array or a list of information. You might be wondering, why is learning how to manipulate an array important? Well, you got to remember, or maybe you don't know, I'll just give you some context. Websites, companies, software companies like Netflix, I guess it's not a software company, but the ability to watch a show online is software. So as I was saying, Netflix stores your favorite queue or your favorite list of shows. The Office, Arrested Development, It's Always Sunny. It stores that information in either two types of data structures, objects or arrays. We're going to be talking about arrays this time. So just think that somewhere in Netflix's database is a table devoted to all the information that deals with you. And there is definitely an array that includes the list of all of your favorite movies and or all of your favorite shows. And that's why it's important to learn how to manipulate them, because when you watch something, that list of movies, the order of that list changes. So when you watch The Office, that's probably the first thing that you see on Netflix. When you switch to another show, It's Always Sunny, you'll notice every time that you log back on, and that's the last show that you watched, It's Always Sunny is going to be the first thing in your recently watched queue. And that is happening through array manipulation. Okay, so that's just some real world context. Let's get into the project. All right, secret message. Using array methods, you will transform an array of strings into a secret message. You should consult the Mozilla Developer Network for references on any method with which you are not familiar. So this is a link to JavaScript documentation, or docs for short. You're going to hear that a lot in the world of development, docs. It's just a great resource to look up certain methods, certain aspects of the language that are confusing. And I suggest that if you're ever confused or you're just generally curious, and I think most developers are very curious when it comes to everything, that's why we're developers, docs are a great resource. Okay, anyways, step one. Use an array method to remove the last string of the array secret message. Okay, so how do we access this array again? And notice, again, it's a list of strings, it looks like. So, okay, it doesn't really make any sense right now. Learning is not about what you get easily the first time. It is about what you can figure out. Oh, that makes sense. What am I talking about? All right, anyways, step one. We need to remove the last word or the last string in the secret message array. And I know that there is a particular method that goes great with strings and arrays. This method is pop. And what it does is it looks at your array, and whatever you call pop on, it says, all right, let me look at the last element in that array and remove it. Okay, so how am I going to demonstrate that JavaScript is going to be removed? Well, after I run secret message.pop, once that's run, it's then going to hit line 5, and I'm going to console.log that array to see what happened after I popped it, or I tried to remove that last element. All right, so this is exactly what I expect. There was JavaScript attached as the last element in this secret message array. When I called the .pop method on it, it looked at the last element in this array, this list of words, and it said, all right, JavaScript is the last one. I'm going to remove it and update the value of secret message to not include JavaScript. And that's what we see here. JavaScript is no longer there. Now, let me just show you what happens kind of behind the scenes when we console.log secret message.pop. What do you expect here? Okay, so as you can see, JavaScript is returned. So secret message.pop, the .pop method returns whatever you're removing. In this case, because JavaScript is the last element in the secret message array, secret message.pop actually returned JavaScript. And I logged whatever it returned. Okay, so that's good for step one. Step two, great, you can check your work by logging the .length of the array. All right, so I'm going to remove this. I'm going to say console.log secret message, and .length is another method kind of built in for strings and for arrays. And what it does is it counts however many elements are in that string or array. If you call .length on a string, it counts however many characters are in that string. And if you call it on an array, it calls however many elements are in that array. And elements are distinguished by these commas here. So this is the first element, comma, second element, comma. Those commas are required. So let's see what happens when I message.pop and then the updated length. So line 3 here, we're going to see what the original array looks like. And after that, we're going to remove that last element, and the length should actually decrease by 1 after we've removed that last element. Let's see what happens. All right, perfect. So that's exactly what happened. There were 24 elements in the array. After we called .pop, or we removed that last element, there are now 23 elements in that secret message array. And you might be wondering, well, if you keep on calling it, why are you seeing 24 and 23 again and again? Shouldn't it be 23 and 22 and then call it again, 22 and 21? Well, that does make sense here, kind of, but what happens is every time you hit save here, we're redefining what secret message is. So I hit save, and it doesn't remember what happened last time. It doesn't remember that I had already removed JavaScript. What happens is this file here redefines what secret message is, and every time we hit save, it redefines what is in this array. And every time, JavaScript is the last element. So that's why the length remains consistent. It still has 24 elements every time we hit save, because we're redefining what secret message is. Okay. Step 3, use an array method to add the words to and program as separate strings to the end of the secret message array. Okay, so I know exactly what method to use for this, and this is an extremely popular method. If you become a JavaScript developer, you're going to be using push a lot. And actually, push can take however many elements you want to give it. What it does is, based on what you pass it, so let's add 2, it's going to say, all right, I'm going to take this element and attach it to the end of this array. So what we do here is we remove JavaScript, right, with secret message.pop, and then learn is now the last element of the array, and then we say, all right, take that array and add on to it another element 2. So the last element is now going to be 2, but I know that push actually can take multiple arguments. So it can take infinity amount of arguments. However many arguments you want to pass to push, it can attach to the end of the secret message array or any array. So it's telling me also to add program. Remove this here. There. And what do you expect to see when we console.log the secret message array? Okay, so sweet. 2 was added as well as program. So program is now the last element in the array because it looked at 2. It said, all right, let me attach it. After we removed JavaScript, which was the last element at that time this pop method was called, we then say, all right, JavaScript is now removed. Let's push the element 2 and program to the end of the array, and that's what we did here. Okay, step 4. Change the word easily to the word right by accessing the index and replacing it. All right, so in JavaScript, you can access individual elements in an array with the index of that element. An index is however many places it is from the front. And in JavaScript, arrays are indexed at 0, meaning they start at 0. So this isn't the first, I mean, it is the first element, but in order to access learning, you would actually type secret message bracket 0. And 0 corresponds to the index of this array. So this is just part of the syntax you have to know, but arrays in JavaScript are indexed starting with 0. So this is the 0th element, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, etc. And it says here we have to change the word easily to the word right by accessing the index and replacing it. So I just said that this is the 7th element in the array, or sorry, the element at the index of 7 in this array. It's probably, I mean, it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's the 8th element in the array. But in terms of what index it's at, it's actually at 7 because we have to start counting at 0. So let's access the element easily and reset the value of that element to equal the string right. And sorry, I need to show you what happens when we do that so we can see if it actually updated. And let's see. Learning is not about what you get, right? Okay, so easily was replaced by right. Sweet. Step 5, use an array method to remove the first string of the array. Okay, there is a method just for this. It is called, let's call shift. And let me comment this out. Notice I'm doing 2 of those slashes here, and that basically tells the file, hey, ignore this line. And let's see what happens after we call shift. Secret message. Sweet. So notice that learning is now removed, and that means that the first element is now is. So now is actually the 0th element, the 0th indexed element in the secret message array. Step 6, use an array method to add the string programming to the beginning of the array. All right, there is another method for this one, and it is called unshift. And what does unshift take? It takes a element that you want to attach to the front of the array. So let's attach programming to the front of the array. And let's see the result here. So programming is now the first element in the array. Remember, we removed learning in this step. And then once that is removed, now is the first element in the array. And then we say, all right, attach programming to the first, or attach programming to the beginning of the secret message array. So now it's programming is blah, blah, blah. Okay, step 7. Use an array method to remove the strings get, right the first time, and replace them with the single string no. Okay, so let's take an array and call the .splice method. Now the .splice method takes the index of the element you want to start removing from the array. So let's say that we want to remove all the elements from get to time, starting with get. So we need to find the element of where we want to start removing the elements from. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So start at the element with the index of 6. And how many items do we want to remove? We want to remove, we want to remove get. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5. And then splice takes this optional argument that says, all right, I've removed those items. What do you want to replace them with? And it's telling us that it wants us to replace them with the word or the string no, comma. Okay. Oh, and let me just show you the result here. Secret message. Cool. So notice that get right the first time is no longer there, and we replaced it with the string no question mark. Okay, step 8. On one line, use console.log and .join to print the secret message as a sentence. Okay, so let's take our array and we want to turn it back into a string. And what method do we use to do that? .join. And .join actually takes an optional argument. Based on what you pass it, it'll take each element and join each element with whatever you pass it. So let's treat it like a normal sentence in English and pass it a space. So it's going to look at each element and it's going to say, all right, programming, I'm going to attach programming to the next one is with a space. So it'll say programming programming space is, and et cetera, till we reach the end. Okay, let's see what happens. Programming is not about what you know, it is about what you can figure out. 2015, Chris Pine, Learn to Program. Alrighty, folks, so that's it for Secret Message. We have discovered our secret message from the hunky dude, Chris Pine. I hope you enjoyed this project. This was a good exercise in our array manipulation abilities, and hopefully this kind of taught you some good stuff. Feel free to explore these Mozilla Developer Network documents. I use them literally every day of my life when I don't know what's going on, which is often. Anyways, that's it for now, and I will see you in the next project walkthrough. Bye.